8 and 9 aren't.
different.
7 and 8 were pulled.
7 and 8 were, yeah. we pulled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Split it.
Good, there's one. Going off of this clock. Okay, welcome to the May 28th Planning Commission meeting. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Davies. McCune.
Here.
Matthews. Here. Bain.
Here.
Fudge.
Here.
Jett. Forbes.
Here.
Whirl. And Van Velsen.
Here.
Okay, a quorum is present.
Current copy of the Open Meetings Act of the state of Nebraska is posted on the back of the council chambers on that wall right there if you'd like to take a peek at that. Second item on the agenda is approval of minutes from the meeting held April 23rd, 2024.
I
Trust-
move the minutes be approved.
Second.
Motion by Van Velsen, seconded by Bain to approve the minutes. Any discussion on that? Not Kevin, please.
Get it?
Yep.
You did, and the meeting minutes are approved. Okey doke. Item number 3, discuss and consider action on application by Marla Cadena for a Cadena replat located at 2803 West 6th Street in an R3 dwelling district on property described as Lot 64, Swenson's second subdivision in North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska. Judy.
Okay, you should have all gotten a copy of the review comments and a copy of the preliminary and final plat. At the April 2nd, 2024 City Council meeting, council approved the expansion of a non-conforming use to allow 2 mobile homes on 2 individual lots. The proposed lots measure 35 by 194, which exceeds the width to depth ratio that's allowed by city code, section 155.093D. It states that the depth of the lot shall be no more than 3 times the width. Section 155-170 of the City of North Platte Municipal Code does grant the ability for Planning Commission to make a recommendation to City Council to allow a variance to depth of lot. Order for the replat to be approved, Planning Commission will need to make a recommendation to approve the variance to City of North Platte Code of Ordinances, Section 155-093D. Public utilities are available to service the 2 proposed lots. Planning staff has no objections to the proposed replat if Planning Commission makes the recommendation for the variance. If you have any questions, I don't see the applicant in the audience, but if you have any questions, I'll be happy to try and answer those for you.
So I have a question. So by approving this variance, this could apply to any lot in North Platte then, correct?
No, just this lot. Just this lot. And then if somebody else had the same issue, you could grant a variance to them. But this only applies to this lot.
They have to go through the same channels.
They would have to go through the same channels. Yep.
Has this been done before? Variances like
Yes, we don't do it very often, but yes, it has been done before.
this? Okay.
What is the minimum width for a lot that you put a mobile home on?
We don't have minimum width size any longer. We used to have minimum width size. A mobile home is generally 18-foot wide. You have side lot line setbacks of 5 feet on a small lot width. And so this one allows the buildable area, what would that be? 5, 10, 24-foot wide. So an 18-foot wide mobile home could easily fit on a 34-foot wide lot.
We've been trying to get out of the habit of putting mobile homes on lots designed for single-family units, so.
That is correct. The section, I don't know the section right off the top of my hand, but in non-conforming uses. So several years ago, we changed from having R4 as a zoning. I think that was back in 2018. R4 allowed mobile homes. And so what we did back in 2018 was now we are only allowing mobile homes in mobile home zoned areas, which are RM districts, which consist basically of mobile home parks. And at that time, that makes some of these other mobile homes that are existing non-conforming. So at the same time, in our non-conforming regulations, we allowed them to appeal to city council, and city council could grant an extension of that non-conforming use. So there was an existing mobile home on this lot, actually 3 existing mobile homes on this lot, 2 of which are uninhabitable. One of them I think they can possibly use, but what the applicant was going to do was purchase then another mobile home and put it on that second lot. So use the existing one, get rid of the third one, and then, well, the second and third one, and then purchase a new one to put on that lot. So she appealed to city council. City council said, okay, we're gonna allow you to extend that existing non-conforming use.
So council's already spoken on this.
Council has already spoken.
And that was with regard to whether mobile homes could go on that particular lot.
That is correct.
On this one in particular.
On the one before it was split, could they put, but she did say, I wanna split it, and I wanna put 2 mobile homes on there. So now she's going through the process to split it. They did say she can extend that non-conforming use. If she doesn't split it, she can only have 1 mobile home on that, however wide, 64-foot wide lot.
So I thought there was a house on this lot too.
There's a house right beside it on lot
65.
65, yes.
Okay.
Yes, we have a definite problem addressing because we're gonna have something like 2301 and a half and 20, we almost had 2301 and a quarter, so there was definitely some addressing issues.
So this would be on 6th Street, kind of west of the Buffalo Bill Viaduct. On the dirt road back in there.
And there are some mobile homes on individual lots in that area,
Well, and
so
there's a
it's
mobile home
not,
park
yeah.
right close there, isn't there?
yeah, so it's not like you're introducing something that is unfamiliar in the area.
My biggest concern though is would this entice other people to come forward and want to do, because the obvious reason for doing it is to have two rental properties on one lot. Would that entice other people to continue to do it? Therefore, keeping our goal of reducing single-family lots to have multi-family use.
Have mobile homes on them.
Yeah,
I mean, they would have to go through the same process. They'd have to go appeal to council. So ultimately, extending that non-conforming use is going to be up to council. There has to be an existing mobile home on one of those lots
got it. Okay.
before they could go appeal to council. So if it's just a vacant lot, they're not going to be able to go appeal to council and say, hey, I want to put 2 mobile homes here. But if
Okay.
there is an existing mobile home there, then council has the ability to decide if they want to extend that non-conforming use.
That helps me.
Please
then.
correct
Thank
me
you.
if I'm wrong. Okay,
So I completely understand. There was a mobile home on this lot.
there were actually 3,
On this one lot, what's described as lots 1 and 2.
correct.
Council has already said you can put one back.
We can split it and put one on each one,
Yes.
which is way more conforming than what it was.
Not arguing that. I just want to make sure I fully
Correct,
understand.
correct, I
what's going on here.
understand.
Yep,
Yes.
okay.
But they said that, excuse me, they said that we could do that, but then it doesn't meet the lot requirements. So that's why we have to approve the change in the lot length.
Right, so you can have, because regulations do state, no matter if it's a mobile home, unless you're in a mobile home park,
Right.
1 residential structure per lot.
Got it.
Any more questions, comments?
The real thing that we're asked to approve is the width to depth ratio.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the variance that you're being asked to approve, if you want to allow the lot split with that variance on there.
Because the depth shall be no more than 3 times the width of the lot.
Correct.
And these are really deep
Yes.
and not wide. So if they were shorter, if there was less front to back,
You probably wouldn't have even seen it,
Wouldn't
because
even
it would
seen
have been
it.
like an administrative subdivision and would have just went through, yes.
okay. Well, are we in a public hearing?
We are not.
Then I move to make a recommendation to approve file number SU 24-00008, preliminary and final approval of the Cadena replat. And make a recommendation to approve a variance to section 155.093D to allow the depth of the lot to exceed 3 times the width.
Second.
Motion by Van Velzen, seconded by Bain to recommend approval. Any more discussion on this matter? Not, Kevin, please. And the motion passes.
This will go to city council for final approval on June 4th.
Item number 4 on tonight's agenda is a public hearing. Discuss and consider action on a resolution regarding the redevelopment plan for the Canteen Commons Apartments redevelopment project on property described as lots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, Block 165, Original Town, North Platte, Layton County, Nebraska, pursuant to the Nebraska Community Development Law. Judy.
Okay, and you should have all received a copy of a resolution. Attached to that is a copy of the redevelopment plan. The City Planning Commission's responsibility in the redevelopment plan process is to take public comment on whether the real estate described is in conformance with the City of North Platte Comprehensive Plan, and if the project meets or will meet subdivision and zoning regulations, and is an overall fit for the development of the city. The following statements should be considered and confirmed. The property as presented is located in an area that has been declared blighted and substandard. The property is in conformance with current City of North Platte Comprehensive Plan. The project meets or will meet subdivision and zoning regulations, and the development of this property to its fullest potential is in the best interest of the City of North Platte and the entire region. The principal purpose of the comprehensive plan is to provide basic policies to guide the many activities of the city. It is used to help determine investment priorities and guide public and private development. At the same time, a comprehensive plan must be flexible in order to address changing conditions and respond to situations that cannot be foreseen at the time of adoption. One goal of the current comprehensive plan is to create sufficient housing stock to provide safe choices and options for all types of units and by cost. Sufficient housing stocks and options are attained by redeveloping underutilized land with a mix of land uses that encourage new housing options, neighborhood services, and a variety of transportation options such as sidewalks, paths, trails, and roads, reducing the number of substandard housing units in the community, creating alternative housing options such as senior or low to moderate income housing, providing incentives such as density bonuses for redevelopment of areas with substandard housing stock into affordable, safe housing, including housing programs that encourage construction of multifamily rental units. Affirm and support fair housing practices in North Platte and prepare the future growth by extending city infrastructure to areas targeted for development. As presented in the redevelopment plan, the redevelopment project consists of construction of a 28-unit apartment complex on the project site. The project will develop the vacant lots 2 through 7, and will leave the 2 current residential lots 1 and 8 undeveloped. Planning staff recommends approval of the Canteen Commons Apartments redevelopment project, redevelopment plan, and passage of the attached resolution. The redevelopment plan is in conformance with North Platte, Nebraska Comprehensive Plan 2011 and meets or will meet current City of North Platte subdivision and zoning regulations. The property is located in an area that has been declared extremely blight and substandard. The area is appropriate for multifamily residential development. The proposed project is within walking distance of commercial areas downtown, providing walkable residential area for workforce housing occupants. And the proposed development is a good fit for the area and overall growth and development of the City of North Platte. Again, you have a copy of the redevelopment project plan and the attached resolution.
Okey doke. One little housekeeping item. I believe there's a couple of us up here who are abstaining from this vote. I will be one. I think Kathleen is the other. Okay. This is a public hearing, planning, and these rules, there are several public hearings on the agenda tonight, so I'm going to read this one time because I don't like to repeat myself. Planning Commission values your input and wants to hear from the audience during public hearings. Anybody wishing to speak must first be recognized by the chair. Once recognized, please approach the podium, state your name and address. Please keep your comments as brief as possible. Repetitive and excessively long testimony may be ended at the discretion of the chair. Okey doke, and with that, this public hearing is open. Anybody would like to discuss this matter? Ma'am.
Hello, I'm Sam DiStefano, 20,000 East Fort McPherson Road. I am partners with Charlie Berwick. We're doing this whole apartment complex building together. I'm kind of more on the design end of it and things like that. My husband and I work here in town. We kind of flip houses, rent them, have sold some, things like that. I like making things pretty. I don't know if you guys have seen the apartments yet, the plans that we've gotten back from the architect, but they're very pretty, and I think it'll look very nice downtown in that North Platte, in that downtown area. You pretty much went through all the specs of them, so I won't go over all that again, but yeah. So I don't really have anything else because you guys said it, but if you have any questions, I'll be here. So other than that,
Any questions before Sam takes her seat?
The diagram site plan
yes.
seems to indicate that with the overlay over the existing, the photograph, it seems to indicate to me that the undeveloped lots, 7 and 8,
Yeah.
have encroached further west than their lot line.
They definitely could have. There's like a tree line kind of back to the west of those houses that is almost like a pseudo fence line where you would think maybe like a backyard ends. So that's very possible.
My concern is, do we gonna have a problem with these buildings being too close to a back lot line or anything like that?
I guess that would only come about if there's like where you have to be so far from a building, and Judy might know those specifics a little more than I do, but the architectural plans are based on the actual property line, so that's something we would have to address when we come to it, I guess.
Glenn, the planning commission will see this when it comes back, when they do, lot consolidation or subdivision. You guys will have to approve that because there's quite a few different lots. They're definitely gonna have to combine them together, and that will come back to you. So you will definitely know at that time.
Okay, so,
Almost looks like that garden.
Yeah, I
garden at
think
the
there's
bottom of
maybe
that.
like a chicken coop or
Yeah.
some other things back there. Yeah.
which may be a good thing to get that all out of the city limits, I don't know, but I'm just, was concerned where the site plan on the overlay looks like. I mean,
Yeah,
you don't
I
own
wouldn't be
those two
surprised.
lots.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't be surprised if they kind of went back to the tree line and were making use of that space because there is nothing to the west of them except trees and things like that. So
No, I believe they do
They
own
do.
those two lots also.
The developers do.
yes, that would be part of it. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
part of the purchase.
Any other questions at this point? Thank you. Anybody else care to testify on this one? Going once. Going twice.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion by Bain, seconded by Forbes to close the public hearing. Any discussion on that matter? If not, and the public hearing is now closed. We're going to talk about this one up here now, okay? Questions, comments? Complaints go to the city attorney.
So our approval here is the amendment of the comprehensive plan or the variance for the comprehensive?
This one doesn't require a variance or a amendment, so it's basically saying, is it in conformance with the current comprehensive plan?
So there's 4 tests that we're asked to review. And of course, as always, correct me if I'm wrong, Counselor, but
You want me to just read them off? I'll just.
yeah, please.
Judy read through them, but just as a reminder for the planning commission. So your role in this part of the process is kind of to look at the redevelopment plan and to decide whether it meets these 4 things that I'll read off. So first, the property as presented is located in an area that has been declared blighted and substandard. And as Judy read through the materials, this property is blighted and substandard. It's actually been changed to extreme blight and substandard. But that extreme blight and substandard definition was just added to it. It's been declared blighted and substandard for quite some time. So that's just an aside. The second thing is the property in conformance with the current City of North Platte comprehensive plan. So that's a big part of what the Planning Commission does. They look at the plan, they say, is it in conformance with the comprehensive plan? Number 3, the project meets or will meet subdivision and zoning regulations. So as Judy said, it doesn't have to meet all of them right now. There may be some things that it comes back to Planning Commission on. So far as subdivision and zoning, although it is zoned R3, I believe,
That is correct.
which means that the development as proposed fits within an R3 zoning area. And then the last thing, number 4, the development of this property to its full potential is in the best interest of the City of North Platte and the entire region. So those are the things to kind of try to focus in on as you're weighing, how you may vote on the redevelopment plan as it's presented to you today.
Any other discussion, questions, comments?
I move to approve the resolution recommending approval of the Canteen Commons Apartment redevelopment project, redevelopment plan, and approval of related action.
Second.
Motion by Bain, seconded by McEwen to recommend approval. Any more discussion on the matter? If not, and the motion passes.
This will go to the Community Redevelopment Authority at 9:30, 9 a.m. on Thursday, and then it will go to City Council. If approved there, will go to City Council on June 4th.
Okay. Items number 5 and 6 are related, so we are going to open the public hearings and conduct them at the same time. So I'm going to read both, and then we'll get into the public hearing. So item number 5 is a public hearing, file number AM 24-002, discuss and consider action on application by Mark and Caden Ottinger, Stonebridge LLC, for an amendment to the North Platte, Nebraska Comprehensive Plan 2011 Future Land Use Map, amending certain lands from residential low-density single-family to commercial located on South Buffalo Bill Avenue north of West State Farm Road on property described as Block 2, Glenfield's 3rd subdivision, Lincoln County, Nebraska, consisting of approximately 9.96 acres. Then item number 6 is a public hearing, file number Z 24-004, discuss and consider action on application by Mark and Caden Ottinger, Stonebridge LLC, to rezone certain lands from an A1 transitional agricultural district to a B2 highway commercial district located at South Buffalo Bill Avenue north of West State Farm Road on property described as Block 2, Glenfield's 3rd subdivision, Lincoln County, Nebraska, consisting of approximately 9.96 acres. So there's 2 issues here. One is flipping the future land use map, and the second is the actual rezoning, and we're going to do a public hearing on both. But we're going to take up item number 5. Judy's going to describe that here.
Okay. In order to rezone a property, it is the duty of the Planning Commission to ensure that the rezoning is in conformance with the current comprehensive plan. So the request for the amendment has been submitted in conjunction with the rezoning. The applicants are requesting the amendment to allow the change in zone. If item number 5, which is the amendment, is not approved, then item number 6 must be pulled from the agenda and cannot be acted on. With this amendment, you should have received a copy of the review comments and then a copy of the future land use map of that area that shows what has been previously amended to commercial and what is currently requested to be amended to commercial. Planning staff has no objections to the amendment. The parcel is currently vacant, surrounded by suburban residential areas to the east and north, with commercial areas to the south and west. The property is directly abutting a high-traffic road with speeds posted that are more conducive to commercial uses. Additional commercial development in the area where there is existing commercial development should not be a detriment to the neighboring properties. With the rezoning, again, if the amendment is not approved, the rezoning cannot be acted on. With the rezoning, you should have received a copy of the review comments, a copy of some information about the project, also a site plan, and then a location map of where the rezoning is intended and the rezoning of neighboring properties. The applicant states that the site will be used for a new marina boat service center. A new building will be constructed to service local boats and engines with an opportunity for retail boat sales. The applicant does not feel there would be any increase in traffic as Buffalo Bill is highly utilized by North Platte residents traveling to Lake Maloney. This is a very convenient location for residents that live in North Platte and at the lake. Most boaters in the community must travel out of town for repairs, which is a loss to the community. Planning staff, again, has no objections to the rezoning. The parcel is currently vacant, surrounded by suburban residential areas to the east and north with commercial areas to the south and west. The property is directly abutting a high-traffic road with speeds posted that are more conducive to commercial areas. Additional commercial development in the area where there is existing commercial development should not be a detriment to neighboring properties. City of North Platte Code of Ordinances, Section 156, 196B allows for service stations, vehicle dealers, and garages, provided that none of the activities of a junk dealer, auto wreckage, or salvage yard is carried on in that classification. So as long as the amendment is approved, planning staff has no objection to the rezoning. The applicant is here if you have any questions.
Okey doke, this is a public hearing. Again, we're going to take up the public hearing for items number 5 and 6 simultaneously. Remember the rules I read in earlier, and at this point, the public hearing is open if anybody would like to come talk about this. Again, raise your hand and I'll bring you up, okay? Sir. Oh, one item of housekeeping, I have to abstain from this as well. There you go. Name and address, please.
Mark Ottinger, 18095 West State Farm Road, Hershey, Nebraska. So my son and I, we've obviously owned that land for a couple years, and my son's a master technician for Merck and Yamaha, and we'd like to open a nice facility here in North Platte to service our community. So you have a picture of kind of how the lot looks and where the building would be positioned. And the building would be about a 7,000 square foot building, everything enclosed. So we built a shop. So obviously it's hot in the summer and cold in the winter. And so all boats would be serviced in the two bay shop inside under good conditions. And then a nice showroom. We like to carry a boat line and obviously accessories for the community to have a opportunity to buy new boats or jet skis. Here for any questions you all may have on the project.
Questions for Mr. Ottinger?
A quick question. So since the west side would butt up against the residential properties, correct? Or the east side, I'm sorry, you're right, east side, got my directions mixed up. Is there a plan to buffer any type of noise or anything on that side?
Well, there wouldn't be a whole lot of noise. Like I said, all the boats would be inside a closed facility. It'd probably not be substantial, but we would have to implement a fence.
Okay.
Obviously, if we have high-end boats or anything out there, which wouldn't be many, but someone would probably have to leave a boat here and there, but we'd probably want to protect it with the fence line across there.
Okay.
Is the north end of this proposed, the lot that's being proposed to be amended, Is that, city property on the north? Or what is that, who owns the property to the north?
I believe that's city, correct, Judy?
Yes, that's the city, what we refer to as South Park.
Yeah, yeah, vacant.
Yes, vacant.
Is there a, along that, between the two, is there a ditch or a ravine or an old, what do I wanna say, irrigation?
Slough.
Ditch, slough or something in there?
It's a slough there, yeah.
Okay. And it makes a natural boundary. Does it have, is that a concern? Is that all on your property or is it all on the city property or?
I think
That's-
it's on the city property. I
yeah,
think
ours-
At least the majority of it, if not all of it, is on the city property.
Okay.
And the main reason we picked the north was that's where the city sewer comes in. Comes in on the west side of Buffalo Bill, and it's also on the north side there, along the slough.
Any other questions at this time?
So the city facilities are already out there.
Water and sewer are available to service the lot. They may have to extend, I think the water's on the west side of Buffalo, so that they would probably, if they wanted water, would have to extend across Buffalo.
Any other questions? Thanks, sir.
Oh, I have one more question. Have you heard any objections from the owners of the residential land to the east?
I have not received any phone calls.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else want to talk on this one? Gary.
Real quick, Gary Pearson, President, North Platte Area Chamber Development Corporation, 502 South Dewey. Just more of a character reference. I've worked with the Ottiger family on a number of different situations in the community. They're outstanding chamber members and just good business people. And you can be assured they'll do a first class thing like they've done with everything they've been a part of in investing in North Platte. So this is a development that we've heard a lot of people talk about its potential and seems to be very well received in the community. Seems to be a natural location along Buffalo Bill heading towards the lake. And so just from a personal standpoint, I strongly support what they're doing.
Any questions for Mr. Pearson? Thanks, Gary. Anybody else?
I did receive one phone call
Okay.
from Ken Kashke. He gave me the address of 104 South Maple, so I'm assuming he must own some property out in that area.
Okay.
He was questioning if an environmental impact statement was required. And the reason, I talked to him a little bit about, what his reasoning was with that. And he wanted to know about containment of oil, any other chemicals that are used, that it would be contained. And then he wanted to know about noise concerns and how are those being addressed. The environmental impact statement, I did let Mr. Kashke know that the city has stormwater regulations that they would have to meet. And stormwater includes dumping of oil, things like that, which, is illegal, so they wouldn't be allowed to do that, but.
Anybody else? Don't be bashful. We don't bite.
I'll make a motion, we close public hearing.
A second.
Motion by Bain, seconded by Matthews to close the public hearing. Any discussion on that matter? Not? Beat me to it that time. And the public hearing is closed. We're going to talk about these two up here now, okay?
So Judy, did notices have to go out to the properties abutting this? Okay.
Yep, it's required by law that everybody within 300 feet get a notification of a rezoning, anybody that's within the 300-foot radius. It's also published in the Telegraph, and a sign is also posted on the property.
Okay.
And of course, the agenda goes to the website.
Further discussion? So we have two matters we've got to take up. Item number 5, first is the change to the future land use map. So you would have to pass that first before we could move on to item number 6. If item number 5 would not pass, we would have to pull item number 6 from the agenda. Everybody clear on that? Discussion?
Well, I would move to make a recommendation to approve file number AM 24-002, an amendment to the North Platte, Nebraska Comprehensive Plan 2011 Future Land Use Map, amending certain lands from residential low-density single-family to commercial located on South Buffalo Bill Avenue north of West State Farm Road.
Second.
Motion by Van Velsen, seconded by Vane to alter the future land use map. Any discussion on that matter? Not? It's already up. And the motion passes,
This will go on to city council for June 4th.
which means we can take up item number 6, which is the actual recommendation on rezoning. Any discussion on that one?
I move to make a recommendation to approve file number Z24-004 to rezone certain lands from an A1 transitional agricultural district to a B2 highway commercial district located on South Buffalo Bill Avenue north of West State Farm Road.
Second.
Motion by Matthews, seconded by McEwen. Sorry, Glenn.
Nope, you can have it.
Any discussion? If not, please vote. And the recommendation passes. So as Judy said, this will go, both of these items will go before city council.
June 4th.
There you go. Okay. Items number 7 and number 8 have both been withdrawn from this evening's agenda at this time. We'll move on to item number 9, which is another public hearing, file number CU 24-002, discussing consider action on application by Lone Star Cowboy Church of North Platte for a conditional use permit to allow a church and accessory structures to be located at 1911 North Buffalo Bill Avenue in an A1 transitional agricultural district on property described as a tract of land in lots 14 and 15 of Cody Land and Cattle Company, addition to northwest quarter of section 29, township 14 north, range 30 west of the 6th Prime Meridian, Lincoln County, Nebraska. Judy.
Okay, and you should have all received a copy of the review comments. Attached to that is a justification for the project, a hand-drawn site plan, and then a location map showing the site of the property. As stated, the applicant is requesting to use the area for Christian and family-oriented events, including but not limited to church and worship services, arena events, livestock grazing, camper hookups, and horse boarding for those traveling to the area. For the time being, the existing building will be sufficient. However, the applicants anticipate growth and expansion, and new structures may be necessary. The applicant states that during church services and special events, there will be an increase in traffic. However, it should not be a detriment to the surrounding area. Nebraska Land Days Arena and Event Center is similar, and the applicants feel this project would be complementary to the activities and events offered there. Again, justification and a site plan are attached. Planning staff has no objections to the conditional use application. The property is currently used as an agricultural property with an accessory structure, being in close proximity to Nebraska Land Days Arena, the Lincoln County Museum, and a proposed commercial use to the north, allowing a church with accessory unit or accessory uses in this area should not be a detriment to the surrounding property owners. The applicants are in the audience if you would like to ask them any questions.
Okey doke. Again, this is a public hearing, same rules and regs as before. Now that we seem to have those under control. And with that, the public hearing is open. Anybody like to come talk on this one? Yes, sir. Name and address, please, sir.
John Sexton, 16,001 West Bar Road, Hershey, Nebraska. I am pastor of the Lone Star Cowboy Church, recently renamed North Platte Cowboy Church, just for grins. But I want to thank you for considering our application tonight. The drawing you see is not my best work. So anyway, we're a little unsure yet exactly how everything's going to lay out. These are just things that we've considered that we would like to expand to in the future, and want to make sure that we have that on there for now. And it's definitely not to scale. So, but anyway, we're pretty excited. As many of you may know, we have been holding church services in the sale barn for almost 8 years now. And with God's grace, we've had the opportunity to buy this piece of property, and looks like it's going to suit our needs just fine. And we're hoping to be able to expand our outreach with that, with not having to conform to another business owner's hours and facilities, as you know. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions for John at this point? He's scratching his head, so I'm
I'm
gonna hold
scratching
you
my
right
head.
there.
Forgive me, I'm slow. I'm just not seeing how the site plan, how this map and your hand-drawn map, are they of the same place?
It's that bad, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is their entire site. So he's kind of a little shorter there.
Okay.
My
But
paper
right
wasn't big
in
enough.
this lower corner down here, this already exists. There's a house and kind of an outbuilding.
Is that what
It's in
that
this
is?
corner. That's kind of where that is, yeah.
Okay. So there's a currently existing building down here and another
Yep.
possible future building here, and then these are, at this point, this is all Dreamin',
Yes, sir.
pen, arena, stalls, hookups. Okay.
Other than the residence and the blue building that I drive by most every day, the rest of this is Dreamin'. And the first building would be, see where it says the residence?
Yeah.
The one just to the right at that building exists. Everything else is a cornfield
Yes.
or such right now.
Mm-hmm.
The 40 by 100 building.
Yes, that's accurate.
Okay.
And the resident in the other building next door is not ours. That's a separate property.
I wondered.
Was there not a covenants on what you could do with this property though when you purchased it?
There was on part of it, on a little bit of part of it, and I've been talking with the neighbor landowner there to
Because
maybe
he
get-
has to
get those
sign off
amended.
on what you can do.
Get those
Is that
amended.
not right?
I'm not 100% sure on the process of that. I'm sure he has to. Yes, we visited quite a few times.
It would that be Mr. Curtis?
Yeah.
Yes.
He owns the residence,
Mm-hmm.
and how much more around it, how much more land around it? Is the existing building belong to him too?
He does have a shop building behind his house. The 40 by 100 existing building belongs to the church. That's on our property.
Okay.
And there's a house, and he's got, I think it's like a 3/4 acre lot there or something like that. It's not very big.
And that's the only piece of this whole site that is not owned already?
Correct.
By the church?
Correct.
And the church is a 501c3
Correct.
religious organization?
Yes.
Okay. I see, okay.
Have you received comments from area residents?
I have not got a phone call or letter, nothing from anybody.
Glenn, just for the record, there is a second owner that would own the property to the north. This is theirs. And this was to be item 7 and 8 tonight. That was pulled from the agenda.
North of the red line site?
correct, yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
the second half of the project,
That's
but
right.
it's not
Yep,
It's
we're not
pulled for
dealing with
tonight.
that one tonight.
Okay, and that's the historical museum in the dash lines up above.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
It'd be helpful if I start putting aerials, add aerials with your map.
You can put your
You think?
GIS up on that thing
Yeah,
right
but then the
there,
line
and
or-
that would be just fine.
Yeah.
I've told you, put your GIS up on that thing.
Aerials
So
would,
everybody
do that.
can see it.
aerials would stink.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is in the city limits now.
No, it is borders on 3 sides, city limits.
That's what the road marks are.
We can ask them at some point to petition to bring it in. The reason this one isn't required to is because it's not a subdivision, because it's over 10 acres. This is like 49. Because our rules do read that if you're abutting city limits and you do, you know, a subdivision, that you have to request annexation. But where it's over 10 acres, they aren't
I didn't think it
required
was
to.
in.
Yeah.
So, okay.
But city services are right along Buffalo Bill, if I
Yep.
remember right.
There's city services to the existing 40 by 100 building now.
Okay.
There's sewer and water there now.
Okay. Any other questions from Mr. Sexton?
Oh.
Any other questions from this group for Mr. Sexton? Sorry about that. Nope, sorry. If not, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now, would anybody else like to testify on this matter? Come on up. Name and address, please, sir.
James Crow, 1819 North Hayes. Okay, and I'm wondering about these maps. Everybody's got a map, but I've never seen a map. I got some papers over here when we come in, but that was one of the main reasons I came. I wanted to see where this stuff was gonna be. I live in the area.
Sure. Judy will help fix you up right now.
This has-
And-
This is his drawing, and then this is where the area is.
Okay. And, okay, so then I guess another question I had, and I don't have all my facts and stuff very straight, but it's 7 and 8 that got pulled that we're not gonna talk about tonight. There was 2 different parties involved in, I guess I'll call it the cornfield. Somebody bought the north half, somebody bought the south half. I think these guys got the south half. One of them was talking about livestock grazing. Is that gonna be you?
Probably a little, just
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I guess one of the
Okay,
things.
sir.
And
Sir, Mr. Crow, you
Yes.
need to testify to this group.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Thank you.
So yeah, I guess one of the things I was concerned about when I heard the livestock grazing and horses and stuff was the flies, that kind of stuff, you know. We're gonna have a bunch of horse manure laying around and flies all over that. I mean, that would be my main concern, would be the insect control and stuff.
Okay.
And I'm not very well prepared because I didn't have a map to look at. I didn't know what I was coming in here to talk about. And, but I'll study this over.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Crow at this point? Thank you, sir.
Thank-
Anybody else want to testify? Come on up. Name and address, please.
Robin Hickenbotham, 1901 Sheridan. We also would like to have a map of what's going on. We look directly at that cornfield. Thank you. Do you need the rest of the paperwork that's on it?
Did you get your last name? Ma'am, could you spell your last name for us, please? Sorry.
Higginbotham.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Now, this line might not be exactly right, but it's right in here, so this is the half that they're talking about. That's what, and then
Okay.
this is their little drawing.
I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yep, you bet. Anybody else want to talk about this one? Going once. Going twice.
I move to close the public hearing.
I'll second that. Motion by Matthews, seconded by Van Velsen to close the public hearing. Any discussion on that? If not, please vote. So quick, I gotta get used to that. And the public hearing is now closed. Okay, we're gonna talk about this one up here. Discussion.
I think as it stands now, you could graze it or have livestock there, correct?
That is correct. It's zoned A1, which
yeah.
allows, yeah, you could have a cattle herd out there, you could have
Mhm.
horses out there. Yep.
And there was a pretty good pile of horses out there this spring munching on corn stalks, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Um, hmm.
One other question. If they begin putting RV, spots on there, that sort of thing, is that gonna have to change the zoning again?
I believe in an A1 district, you can do it by conditional use.
Okay.
So more than likely, they would have to come back if they were going to set up like a RV park type where they were gonna have hookups and things like that.
Okay,
Now, if they were having an event where it went in and came out overnight, I'd have to look at that, but unless they have reserved parking stalls like an RV park, I wouldn't consider that an RV park.
so if they had like a rodeo event or something like that, they would not need any additional conditional use, but if they were leasing out RV spots, is that kind of the difference?
Yes.
Okay.
Basically a 24-hour, 48-hour period, it's not going to make a difference. But
Okay.
if they're going to have something in there where they're gonna have, electrical hookups, water sewer hookups, anything like that, then
Okay.
yes, it would constitute an additional conditional use permit.
Got it, thanks.
Be similar to the freeway we have setting up on the east side of our place. People come in and coming out, but they're there for a day.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So this is not a request to change the, zoning, it's a conditional use permit.
Correct. Churches are allowed in any zoning district. So, I definitely made the recommendation not to rezone it, especially with their, future wants of having livestock in
Yeah.
there. So yes, it is just a conditional use in an A1 district.
And it's not being subdivided into lots, so it's not, doesn't have to be encouraged to join the city. They can choose to join the city, but they don't have to be annexed.
Correct.
Or-
At some point, you can't annex property during an election year, but at some point after an election year, I like to annex property, so I'll probably go ask them.
Catch that one?
Okay,
Well, and technically, they've been operating as a church for, you mentioned 8 years, right? So,
In different locations,
different
yeah.
oh, got it, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there've been significant renovations that have gone on in that existing blue building, if I remember correctly. They've done quite a little work in there already. Are you meeting there yet? Not. Yeah, sure. Any other discussion on this one? So, on the covenant that
Oh, yeah, I was,
Angie brought up,
thank you.
could we make that a condition that the covenant holder has to sign off on that, or?
I'm gonna defer to the attorney. Typically, cities do not concern themselves with covenants. That's between private property owners. We enforce zoning regulations, so we don't have anything attached to the zoning regulation that says they have to abide by a covenant. But again,
Yeah, well, and from where I'm sitting, I don't know that we want to get into the business of trying to enforce private covenants as a city. We already have zoning rules and regulations and ordinances and all of those kinds of things to police. And so the private restrictive covenants or anything to that effect they're kind of left to the landowners to be able to police themselves. But with that being said, I suppose this is a condition, an application for a conditional use, and so the planning commission is able to put additional conditions upon the conditional use. I don't know that legally I like the idea of having the city police covenants, like I said, but that could be something that the commission could consider. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it.
So which would supersede? I mean, if we do this conditional use permit to allow him to do something, if it goes against the covenant, covenants were there first, would they be in place and supersede the conditional use that we're allowing?
He could probably be
Or are
sued by
we just
the,
allowing the
The
church?
landowner.
we're just allowing the church. We're allowing the church. And I don't believe the city can get in trouble for not abiding by the covenants, because the covenants is between the private landowners, and please jump in if you need to. But, yeah, I mean, he could be sued by the private landowner, but that wouldn't have anything to do with us.
I would agree. I don't think it's our place to get involved in that agreement.
Just wanted to have that discussion.
Yes, I think it's
Yeah.
good, but thank you. That was a good clarification. Appreciate that, Paul.
It makes you wonder how far the accessory structures, I mean, this could turn into a dude ranch pretty easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm wondering,
And dude ranches
and
are allowed.
accessory structures leaves it wide open.
Yeah. And
on
dude
this state.
ranches are allowed in agricultural areas.
Right.
I mean, so, yeah.
I know.
Agritourism is a pretty big enterprise,
Yep.
so it wouldn't surprise me in the least if you saw a little bit of that. I mean, you're already seeing some of those activities short hop north over at Dusty's place, right? Commercial horse riding, that sort of stuff. I don't see that sort of thing in the diagram here, but certainly could happen.
Which it's already allowed, basically.
Mhm.
So we're just going for the church.
Basically, yeah. Churches require a conditional use permit in any zoning district.
The
Additional structures are already legal.
Hello.
Red light's good.
Okay, yeah, they are allowed with a condition, if you have a permit or the conditional use is allowed, that's one of the conditional uses that are allowed.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah. They have to get a permit like this.
They have to get a permit like this. Any church has to get a conditional use permit to be allowed in any zoning district.
And that's what this application is for.
That's what this application is for.
It-
I did put accessory structures on there. If you don't want to approve the accessory structures, you can take that off in your
Do
approval.
they need this conditional use for any structures?
If they're gonna put a structure up there to house animals, no, because they're in an A1 district. If they're gonna put a riding stable in there, I would have to look at the code. They may need an additional conditional use, but it would be allowed.
Like a barn or a lean-to?
Yeah,
or
a
any of
barn or
that
a
would be-
lean-to would be allowed
Right.
in an ag district. Yep.
The one thing I heard you say though is if they wanted to put pedestals in and have week-long camping, that they'd have to come back and get an additional.
Conditional
That's
use,
different
yes,
story.
yes. So yeah, if you want to take the accessory structures out of there, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of accessory structures that they can put up in an ag district without,
Without anything.
yeah.
Just a permit.
Yep.
So I don't think needs to be taken out. It's just,
I would agree to keep it in there. It
yeah.
makes sense to keep it in there.
Anything else?
But as you read that, are the structures accessory to the conditional use of a church?
That's what it would have to be if you're, yeah.
So is a is a riding stable, a barn, an RV slot, are those
Not just
if
any
you put in
church,
structures?
Northwest Cowboy Church.
Yeah.
Cowboy church. That's good.
So at what
Well, to be completely honest with you, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of times the church service is conducted while the pastor is horseback in an arena setting. Is that correct? Okay, so just be mindful of that it's been in a sale barn. Okay, so I could certainly see them actually doing church services in fact, I think they did one at our place last year, the year before. So,
That's one of the days you do the open.
yeah.
So my question was, when the language of church and accessory structures, do we want to have any kind of reapplication for building the arena, which is kind of sketched out here. Do we want to have a reapplication for a conditional use permit for
They're already legal.
those kinds of things?
Yeah.
They would already be legal in an A1 anyway.
Your arena is going to be, your grazing of animals is going to be, without any type of additional permit. Your RV park would be a conditional use. Riding stable, I don't know off the top. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Because I don't want to just leave the language in and include additional language that later on, future planning commission goes, oh, we'd really like to see about maybe not allowing that use, but it says accessory uses.
But if we don't change the zoning, most of this is, I mean, it's
Right.
anything that's not fit in the zoning, he's gonna have to come
You
back.
can put
for
anything
conditional
in there
use.
except the church. Is
Right.
what we're
Right.
basically.
Right, already.
All this.
You can now.
He could put the
can't right
arena, he
now.
could put a barn, he could put a lean-to, he could put all that stuff in there the way it sets.
Yeah.
What he's asking permission to do is basically have the church.
Right.
And right now, it's a pivot that
Yeah.
has had horses on it.
Yeah.
I'm completely comfortable leaving that language in.
I'm fine.
Me too now.
Yeah.
Because it's already.
It's already permissible.
Yeah.
Right. The only thing I'd say is if you ever wanted to put in an RV park as part of this, it'd have to come
Yeah.
back and we'd talk
Yeah.
about that, but.
Exactly.
Yeah, it specifically states recreational RV park has to be a conditional use.
Any more discussion on this one? Not, there are two proposed motions, one to approve and one to deny, and these are always fun because there's a whole bunch of stuff you gotta read.
I move that we find the request for conditional use permit to allow a church and accessory structures to be located at 1911 North Buffalo Bill Avenue meets the minimum standards stated in the North Platte Code of Ordinances, Section 156.322, and approve and grant the conditional use permit requested with the condition that all elements of this application are complied with.
Keep going.
Yep.
Based on,
Based on the use shall conform to the applicable ordinances, laws, and regulations of any governmental jurisdiction. The use shall have adequate water, sewer, and drainage facilities. The use shall have ingress and egress shall be so designated as to minimize traffic congestion in the public streets. The use shall in all other respects conform to the applicable regulations of the district in which it is located, and the use shall be in harmony with the character of that area and most appropriate for the use of land.
Second.
Okay.
Motion by Matthews and seconded by Bain to approve the conditional use permit. Any more discussion on this one? Kevin's on a roll tonight. And the motion is approved.
this will go to the city council on June 4th.
Good luck to you. Item number 10. Goodness. File public hearing, file number Z 24-006, discuss and consider action on an application by Ryan and Marie Cabrera, River Valley Mobile Home Park LLC, to rezone certain land from an RM Mobile Home District to an R3 dwelling district located at 2401 East Second on property described as Lot 59, Platte View Subdivision, North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska. Judy.
Okay, and this zoning request is submitted in conjunction with the next item, which is a subdivision. The rezoning is in conformance with the North Platte, Nebraska Comprehensive Plan and does not need to be amended. The applicants are requesting rezoning to allow a subdivision to occur. If the rezoning is not approved, the subdivision cannot be approved. The applicant states that they have acknowledged that there's an affordable housing shortage, but are not in a position to add more housing. So they've decided to subdivide off approximately 1.35 acres of vacant property on the west side of the mobile home park to allow for the sale of property for new housing opportunities in the community. Once the property is sold, it would likely be that the new owner will construct new residential units. The change in zone will provide a positive effect to the area by opening up additional property for housing. Planning staff has no objections to the zone change. The property requested to be rezoned is the far west portion of an existing mobile home park. The property owner plans to offer that for sale, which will allow for an additional developable residential lot. So attached to this, you should see a copy of the proposed Platteview 4th replat. So the only portion of that is that lot that's designated as proposed lot 2 would be rezoned from an RM mobile home district to an R3 multifamily dwelling district. The rest of it would remain the same as the mobile home park lot.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Again, we read the rules in earlier, so I'm not going to read them again. With that, the public hearing is open. Anyone want to come talk about this one?
The applicant is in the audience if you have any questions.
Okay. Going once. Going twice.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second. Sorry. Yeah.
Motion by Bain, seconded by Matthews to close the public hearing. I can't even get the words out quick enough, and he's got you ready to vote.
Oops. Oh, it's upside down.
And the public hearing is now closed. Okay. So we got to take up item number 10 and 11, right?
Well, we didn't read number 11, so we're just
Right,
going with 10
but-
right now.
but
to
they're
read
the
those,
same-
but
but they're
they're
the same property,
yeah,
right?
They're the
Okay.
same property.
Okay.
Same as before.
Yep.
So on lot 2, the one that's requested to rezone, there is a single-family residence on that, right?
There was.
There
So
was,
actually, if you look in that next item, look at the preliminary.
Yes.
You can see that there's 3 lines, so there's actually 3 lots. The mobile home park is in 2 lots.
Yes.
And then that lot 59 has that single family house on it.
Yes.
So what they're doing is halving basically lot 59
Oh.
to take off that west half and then
Got it.
consolidating all the rest of it together.
Okay, I could not, thank you.
Yep.
So how do we know that the buyers are gonna want it multi-resident?
I would say we don't know, but all the property surrounding that property is R3. So in an R3 district, you can do apartments, you can do duplexes, you can do single family. So it doesn't really limit them. It does limit them from not doing a mobile home, but you can do any of the other dwelling options are allowable.
I would imagine it makes it a little bit more attractive to sell, having the 2 parcels, but that'd be my guess.
Well, with R3, you can do anything in an R2 or an R1.
Yep.
There's a little more
Yeah, leeway.
broadening without making them RM. So this is the west part. The rezone is the west part of lot 59,
Correct.
vacant part.
Correct.
Well, I would move to make a recommendation to approve file number Z 24-006 to rezone certain lands from an RM mobile home district to an R3 dwelling district located at 2401 East Second Street, which is the proposed lot 2 of the Platteview 4th replat.
Second.
Motion by Van Velsen, seconded by McEwen to make a recommendation to approve. Any discussion on that? If not, please vote. And that is approved. So, next item on the agenda is item number 11, file number SU 24-009, discuss and consider action on application by Brian and Marie Cabrera of River Valley Mobile Home Park LLC for Platteview 4th replat at 2401 East 2nd Street on property described as lots 59, 60, and 61, Platteview subdivision, North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska. Judy.
Okay, and this subdivision will reconfigure 3 lots into 2 lots. Lot 2 is proposed to be rezoned from RM to R3, which is what we just did. Public utilities are available to service the proposed lot. City water, I believe, may have to be extended a little bit to get there. Planning staff has no objections to the proposed subdivision as long as the rezoning has been approved. And again, you should see the preliminary and final plat, proposed plat. If you have any questions, I'm happy to help.
Discussion? Not, there's a proposed motion there.
I move to make a recommendation to approve file number SU 24-009, preliminary and final approval of plat view 4-3 plat.
I have a question.
Hold on. Hold on. Did you second? I heard you second that.
No, I said,
I did too.
She did too.
I did
oh,
too.
okay, I thought you were.
Motion by McEwen, seconded by Forbes
Now we have a
to
question.
approve. Now, discussion.
Discussion.
Okay. Lot 2 proposed to be rezoned, that's what we just did.
Yes,
So lot 1 will remain in
Yes.
RM.
correct.
I just wanted to make sure, because
Yep.
I had myself twisted there a little bit. I thought, wait a minute.
Well, I could have made a typo, but
Well, no, but, okay.
Any other discussion or questions?
Lot 1 is including the east half of what we're changing,
correct.
so just extending,
The mobile home park just a little further. Yeah,
that house is removed.
that house is there. And I believe it's gonna remain there. That house is still there.
And it can be in an RM.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, there's no problem.
Any other discussion? If not, ready to vote. And that passes.
And again, both these items will be on the council agenda for June 4th.
Item number 12 would be old business. Any old business to bring forward?
I've got nothing.
How about new business? If not, we
I
stand
move we
adjourned.
adjourn. Okay, never mind. You just adjourn us, don't you?
Nope. Yeah, I do, but did you have anything else?
Oh, I was gonna
Okay,
move to
I've-
adjourn.
Now adjourn.
Okay.
Sign that, please.
I would be happy to.
Thank you.
Sign, well,
Nope.
couple of plaques.